Tone Spoon. Okay, now this is something that I am extremely excited for, but there's a couple of reasons. Not only is this a band who broke onto the scene with, frankly, one of the most interesting sounds that we'd had for quite a long time, you know, mixing up a lot of changes of rhythm and such in their opening few songs that would make them more sort of familiar to prog bands, but at the same time, they had this accessibility. It was almost kind of like the craziness of bands like Tricot or Necrai Talkie, but with a fresh new sound. I mean, this was a band who everyone was excited for. And then we had a little bit of a gap, and now they're back. Now, during that little bit of a gap, however, I got to meet them, and I did an interview with them. And this is one of the reasons why this is something that hits quite hard, because that interview was done about a year ago, and we're still waiting to put it out, and the band have been waiting and hanging on over so many things. So many things have happened, both to me personally and to this channel, which have just delayed the release of the interview. And so now when this interview comes out, it's going to be almost cheekily presented as a sort of like, well, here's Tone Spoon from a year ago. So in a way, I was kind of nervous to even talk about this, because as much as the band have been really kind, I was just kind of like nervously thinking to myself, well, if I do a reaction to their new song, you know, they're going to be, how should I put it? They're going to be like, oh, well, he's still alive. Where's the interview? I'm glad to say they very kindly contacted me and told me how excited they were to see my comments on their new song, which really lifted me up, because I feel immensely guilty towards this band for the fact they've waited so long for our session to be published. Therefore, I'm excited. I can't deny I've got a bias on this, but we're always honest on this channel. I have a bias towards this band. This is one of the reasons why I checked them out in the first place. One of the reasons why I wanted to interview them is because I think they're so exciting. I'm really hoping to like this. Now, partly one of the things that I really like immediately is that, unlike their previous video, which had like a little bit more of a darker vibe, this is a much brighter looking video right from the outset. So I don't know what we're going to get here, but I am super excited about it. And again, this is a band who has a keyboard player. And not only a keyboard player, but as I found out from their interview, the keyboard player kind of writes everything, which means, you know, I always rave about keyboards. They have two singers. They have all the things that you would want from a brilliant, great band. And I just hope this continues their drive into a positive direction, and maybe adds a little bit of variation as well, as maybe a colourful alternative to their much more sort of deeper songs that came before. Who knows? I think it's time to find out. All right, brand new Tone Spoon. Let's just go. Oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving the start. There he is. Oh, that piano sound is... Oh, nice rhythm change up. It's all goodness so far. Every time the piano comes in, it adds to what is already a really great sound. Loving the vocal tension as well, the build up there. Let's pay it off in the chorus. Oh, and I'm loving the bits where it just breaks down to the bass. Adds contrast to all that complexity. What is going on there? Again, that tension. They're playing that so well. Now I'm interested. This song's got a while to go yet. 2 minutes. Oh, yeah. Are we going to get more of this building tension here? I love when they sing together. Layering. See, this is a band who benefits so much from being able to do so much contrast within their sound, and that's what we're hearing again. Notice how that last minute and a half has just flown by. Because everything feels purposeful. It feels like it's going in a direction. Ah, yes, back to the riff. That's such a satisfying ending. All right, now look, I said from the beginning, I made the comment at the start, and full disclosure, obviously I have a bias towards this band. I'm not going to deny that. But the thing is that the whole reason why, as I mentioned, I went to interview them is because this is the sort of band where I was genuinely excited about them. There's so many bands coming up in Japan. There's so many bands to talk to listen to. But this was a band who I'd been interested from day one. And you know what? It's one thing when a band maintains a level of quality that brought you to them. It's another thing when you genuinely feel that progression, that movement forward. And this is what that's what I love so much about this. I really feel that this song has not skipped a beat of why we originally loved Tone Spoon. Now, I should point out their last EP was absolutely brilliant. I listened through that. I even spoke to Benedict on Ears to the East, who's a big metal fan, and he even said he was just blown away by it. Like Tone Spoon have been very, very good, but this as a single, this really feels like a band who are, able to drop a single, able to drop a song that is accessible and yet at the same time, again, maintains that level of quality. Now, a lot of the things that I personally liked about this, again, I am a big fan of, I like songs that have good keyboard in there. A good sort of bright piano sound and a good electric organ sound are two of my favorite things. A lot of people know I think they can be used beautifully to thicken up a song, and they usually fit very well into songs that have a little bit of a rocky vibe. And those are the two sounds that we used here. And boy, oh boy, did they work. And again, it really helps when your keyboard player is a very active songwriter. I don't know, but I'm assuming he was very much in the loop of, if not at the core of, if not solely responsible for writing this song. But in this particular case, it was just wonderful how much the piano hit. The fact the piano was effectively doing the refrain, the riff at the beginning and the end of the song. The fact that it was able to have so much punch every time it came in. So many bands rely on guitar to give that punch. Here, the guitar is kind of like the sort of smooth sound that's kind of like keeping everything chugging along. It's that nice sort of thick connecting thing between all the other sounds, whereas a lot of the time other bands will use the guitar as the focus of the attention and just relegate the keyboard to the background. So it was really nice, especially considering we've got singing guitarists. It's nice to have both vocals coming from the guitar and bass player, but also have the guitar and the bass able to function within the overall arrangement like that. The whole song, it had rhythm changes, it had progression, it had constant little changes throughout. I mean, this is when the second verse came around. The second verse had so many little changes and shifts in it. It was going through so many alterations. This is a song that feels like there's attention to detail at every single point. But despite all of this usual I love songwriting kind of obsessing over all of the little changes and nuances and how clever it was, the thing that really can't be denied here is the fact that it was still very accessible. And this is something that seems to be almost like a calling card of tone spinners in general. And I keep on using the word accessible. I think sometimes when I use it, people might be at risk of mistaking that for me describing it as simple or dumbed down. And that's not what I mean. When I say something is accessible, it's more referring to this sort of effortlessness that a truly great songwriter can attain, where what you're doing is you're doing something that is complicated but doesn't tax the listener to enjoy it. That the listener can just enjoy it smoothly. It's like they can take in this wonderfully complex thing you've done easily. That is to me, that's a demonstration of really great songwriting. And that's kind of where this song, for me, is taking things up yet another level, because this song feels so effortlessly like, I mean, if you gave it to someone who didn't know any better, I wouldn't be surprised if they could just say, oh yeah, it's a pop rock song, because it has all the hallmarks of a pop rock song. It's catchy, it's bright, it's colourful in the music video, it kind of bounces along. And yet for people like myself, and I'm sure you as someone who's watching a channel like this, you can hear so many nuances and complexities and changes happening in the song, things that maybe a lot of other people wouldn't notice until they listen to it multiple times. Then when, oh yeah, there's a lot going on here. It's like, oh yeah, the two verses aren't the same. Oh, the bridge is just like this long extended thing that like meanders off into its own existence and then into his own little sort of world, and then comes back and brings you back to the final chorus brilliantly. I love how they even marked the fact that the last chorus comes around so triumphantly by having them jump up in the air and do that sort of slow-mo freeze frame and drop back down, because that's the thing, all of this complexity, it has to lead to a rewarding payoff, and that's what you get here. I really like this. For me, this just sort of ticked all the boxes of what I wanted to hear from them. And again, I am kind of... He's so cool. He is really cool. I just love that free flame. He is a really cool guy. But again, I just think they have something truly special. I hope that when I deliver the interview and session with them, you guys will be able to enjoy why I like these people as people. And again, full disclosure, I'm a little bit biased because they were incredibly lovely people to meet. They've been incredibly polite and kind, considering I've basically been screwing around getting the interview done for a year. But I wanted to interview them because they were awesome. And I think the biggest fear I could have come across is that if I'd interviewed this band I really liked, I'd taken a year to do it, and in the time it took to release the interview, they'd suddenly turned crap. That would have been a real kick in the nuts if that had happened. I was both excited for this, but also a little bit nervous. And no, I'm gonna have this on repeat play. This was great. I'm really genuinely glad this was great. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Get in the comments, tell me what you think, and until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next release. For now, ciao ciao.